Today, we're going to take a look at this Dell 3070 Micro that first released in 2019. This particular unit has a Pentium Gold 5420T processor. That's a pretty good CPU, just only for light tasks. We have 8 gigs of RAM at 2400 megatransfers per second and 128 gigabyte SSD running on a SATA 3 port. We're going to take this machine and give it a little bit of a boost. We're going to add in an NVMe drive rather than a SATA 3 SSD. We're going to give it another 8 gigs of RAM, this time at 2666 megatransfers per second, and we're going to give it a new processor with this i5 9500. To crack this thing open, we're going to remove this one retaining screw in the back of the casing with a standard Phillips screwdriver, and then we're going to work it out with our fingers. To pop the casing off, we're going to slide the entire front assembly forward away from the case, and then it can be lifted off and removed. To take out this SSD, we're going to pull the 2 little blue clips and slowly slide out. Be careful not to put too much pressure on this like I did. It's supposed to just slide forward and lift out of place. And here we can see the internals of this machine. Here's our Wi-Fi card. We have a blank NVMe slot. To remove the heat shroud, pull the 2 little clips and it lifts up and out. Because the cable is long enough, we'll be able to leave that in place. As we take a look at the RAM here, we can see that this is 2666 megatransfers per second. However, the Pentium G5420T can't go that high. So we have performance left on the table that's limited by this CPU. We're going to start and go ahead and lift out one of those sticks of RAM that's a 4 gigabyte, and we're going to take the Samsung 8 gigabyte stick and we're going to slide it into place instead. As long as the generation and the transfer speeds are the same, Intel is pretty good at managing 2 different manufacturers on the RAM. This is our heat sink on our CPU. Each screw is labeled 1 through 4. Here we can see 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're just going to go ahead and unscrew those a little bit at a time to slowly work this thing out. You don't want to do one side completely, otherwise it's going to put this on an odd tilt and it has the potential to damage the CPU. One thing we want to avoid in doing this is we don't want to pull straight up because there might be too much suction pressure on the CPU and it could damage the socket. So we're going to wiggle this side to side to slowly break it loose from the CPU and then lift up. And here we can see our Pentium Gold resting in place. To remove this, we're going to push the key down and move to the side, and then lift up, and it will pull this pressure plate up. This CPU, the Pentium G5420T, is a dual-core 4-thread processor that runs at 3.2 gigahertz. It's pretty efficient, but it's not very powerful. This thing was designed for power management and really light use. We're going to upgrade to this Intel Core i5 9500 CPU. Both of these are the same generation on the LGA 1151 socket. This is a 6-core, 6-thread processor with a base clock of 3.0 gigahertz with a turbo boost of 4.4 gigahertz. Not only is this upgrade going to give us more cores, it also is going to give us better single-threaded and multi-threaded performance. There isn't any one perfect way to put on thermal paste. I've just found that this shape works best for me, but be certain you actually do replace the thermal paste rather than just installing a CPU and putting the heat spreader back on it. To lock this socket back in place, we're going to move the cover down and then slide that bar underneath the socket. Taking our heatsink, we're going to line up the screws, making sure the arrows are pointing towards the exhaust fan, and we're just going to sit that in place, and we're going to slowly move everything together. And once it's in place, we're going to do the exact same numbered order, a little bit on 1, a little bit on 2, a little bit on 3, and then 4. And you'll rotate between these 4 screws until the entire thing is secure. The fan assembly will slot right back in over top of this heat spreader, and you'll just want to make sure that none of the cables are sticking out over the case. Now that that has been done, we're going to put in our new NVMe drive. We're going to back out this one screw on the retaining holder, and we're going to take our NVMe drive and slide it in to this M.2 slot. This drive is the same capacity as our SATA 3 SSD, however, it is significantly faster. The SATA 3 drives had a max transfer speed of 500 megabytes per second. This NVMe drive, it's 3,000 megabytes per second. a tremendous difference that we're really going to see make a difference when we're installing Windows and running programs. Now that that's in place, we're going to hook this up just to make sure that all of the components are shown in BIOS prior to us closing this up. An interesting thing to note is when you plug in a Dell machine for the first time, the fans will spin up just for a moment as everything registers and self-checks, and then it will power back down. Now if we go into our system settings, we're able to see 12 gigabytes of RAM running at 2666 megatransfers per second. We're able to see our i5 9500 CPU, and we're just going to go in and make some adjustments to make sure that everything is set perfectly. We're going to restart the machine and we're going to spam that F12 key, which is going to take us into our one-time boot menu. We're going to select our USB drive and we're going to boot into the Windows process. We're going to accept those terms and conditions. We're going to click next. We're going to do a custom install of Windows only. We're going to delete off the partitions that were on this drive previously so that we're starting with a completely clean slate. Now that everything has been wiped, we're going to select new. We're going to click apply and it's going to install all of the proper partitions for us so that we can just click next and it will start installing Windows 10. This system does support Windows 11, but I don't have a boot key for that software quite yet, though we will upgrade to it. And then we're just going to go into the standard Windows setup process. We're going to accept most of the defaults, we're going to connect to our network, and we're slowly going to move on down the line. Once your network has been connected, it's going to run through a couple things, it's going to restart several times, and it's slowly going to work us to the next screen. We're going to set this up for personal use and not link it to a Microsoft account right now, so we're just going to continue with the offline account option. We're also going to select the limited experience and just put in our username and our password. We're not going to import any browsing data or set it as our default right now, so we're just going to click through and keep going through these menus. And no, we are not going to be using Cortana. After a few more minutes and another restart, we're brought right into our main Windows 10 menu that we're all familiar with. In Task Manager, we're able to see our i5 9500, our 12 gigs of RAM, and our UHD 630 graphics. This Dell 3070 still has impressive capacity inside. They made it very modular, so we could customize it even further if we wanted to. This is drawing significantly more power, so it gets way louder. And so now this OptiPlex 3070 has Pentium Gold sticker on it, but an i5 9500 inside. We can see in installing updates that this gets to that 4.29 gigahertz. And once we have the proper things installed, we're gonna go ahead and get this upgraded to Windows 11 for a little bit more future-proofing. After about 15 minutes, more menus, and more random restarts, Windows 11 is now fully functional on this machine, and it is ready for deployment. I was really excited to give this machine some new components to breathe some new life into it so it can reach its highest possible potential. Let me know if you have any questions about any part of this install process and what upgrades you've done to make your machines more powerful.